Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now here in my hands, this is the Ucon Hawk from Tops Knives. An absolutely beautiful slab of 1095 high carbon steel made with these gorgeous sure touch handles, absolutely phenomenal. Now in this video, what we're gonna do first, we're going to stop by my buddy's house, Joe from Survival Attitude. We're going to take a look at this for the first time. Then we're going to get out to my backyard. I'm going to do a little bit of wood processing to start myself a fire. And then finally, we're going to come back to the studio and I'm going to go through this in details and wrap it up with my final thoughts. But with that said, I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you. And if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. Now, before we get too far, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Tops who did provide this for review. All right, so Joe, we literally just got done filming episode 6 of the Out of Doors. Now, in episode 5, we actually covered a huge plethora of Tops knives, and actually I had an axe, or I should say a hatchet. And man, I mean, Tops is a brand who I know you greatly enjoy, so I've brought something for you today that I'm pretty excited for you to get a first impression and definitely check out. So,
ooh, I'm excited.
Nice. So thank you to the people at Tops who provided this. This is the Ucon Hawk. Now, this is literally brandy new, has not been used yet, but I figured I'd let you check this out in terms of the, you know, your impressions here. So
This is absolutely a work of art before you even get into usage. Are you kidding me? It comes with this belt loop like that?
yeah.
Holy mackerel. Look at the handle. Oh, they rounded out everything perfectly. That leather. The belt loop, you just hang it so the blade is behind you. I guess you have to slide it through, right? Yeah. Oh, nice, tight, that leather. Beautiful. The mask, look at that. Tops logo, so deep. Oh. A hammer end. 2 bolts up front, which I like. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Need to buy one. Idaho made deep laser etching. Oh my goodness. Look at the rounding. Tops. Oh my goodness. This is absolutely incredible. The Ucon Hawk. I'm assuming that's date 21 and serial number. Assuming. Thick steel. 1/4 inch looks like. Thick black liners. Nice G10. Holy mackerel, Eric. This is incredible. I have no words. I want one. That's all I can tell you.
So it'll be interesting to get this into some field use. I do have some thoughts about where it would be most appropriate. I mean, to me, this is not going to be the best sort of splitting, but it's just going to be a good general camp tool. What I greatly like is the fact that it's got some weight, but it's not overly heavy. I think this is going to be fantastic for somebody who's looking for a quality tool for backpacking. And I love the idea that for me, where I always like hard use, having a full tang design on a hatchet is going to be great. I mean, some other types of hatchets, call it like a Grants Force or something like that, I trust it, but with a wood handle, you kind of can't always say for sure how it's going to last.
True.
This, you're not going to kill it. And you know, you can baton this if you had to. It's going to be durable. You can pry. I'm not worried about that. The things that I like the best, first off, and you said G10. This is an interesting material. It's called, it's like secure touch. So
yeah.
It's got like a rubber in there, which is very interesting. So it's a little bit different. So you notice if you grab that, that's why you get some of that grippiness.
I'm colorblind. Is that orange or green?
That is orange. Yeah. He's colorblind. But it's your favorite color.
It is. I love the orange. And I didn't wear the hat today, but it's getting a little bit ratty. But I can't even begin to tell you. This is an Armageddon tool.
Right.
An Armageddon tool. Was it 1095?
1095.
1095. So take a beating. Absolutely, the coldest of temperature, no matter what you're doing, prying, twisting, breaching. I mean, heck, even for a combat situation, pulling it out, grabbing somebody by the shoulder and pulling them down, just safe to pull them down out of the way is incredible. If you had to do a throat depress with that, you could do it to hold somebody back at a distance, which I really like. You got the cracking ability, so for combat effectiveness in a Hawk, this to me will do all that. And then take it to the camp application or even backyard use. Has good balance, good weight. It's gorgeous. You could do some flat hammering to some tent poles, which I do a lot in my hatchets, hawks, even some flat knives. Bang that right down. Confidence in hand and the carry system. They didn't skimp on that at all.
Yeah, no, this is, I mean, you can never go wrong with Tops leather, but I think this is actually next level.
That's next level.
Right?
That's next level.
I mean, it's really fantastic, beautifully done. And to add the belt carry.
No, quality touch.
I thought you'd like that.
Thanks. Wow, nice job, Tops, on that. Home run.
And so now getting the Ucon Hawk out into some good field use. Now the first thing I find, this is a very balanced tool. It is extremely comfortable in the hand. I do have to say I greatly like the way it feels, and with gloves or without, it's definitely a performer. And one of the things that's funny to me, you know, when I get into a review, sometimes I look at other people's reviews and what their impressions are. And this is a product that, for me, I'm surprised people react the way they do. I did see a couple of reviews that said this is not necessarily a splitter. It doesn't have the appropriate heft. Well, I have to say, I disagree completely. Is this going to be the best chopper? Is it going to be the best splitting axe? No, but for what it is, it's an absolute joy. It's a nice, balanced, overall average axe that has a good carry size. It's not overly large. The head's not too big, but at the same time, it does a plenty fine job splitting. The other thing that's nice is with a full tang design, you can absolutely wail and smash on this, and you don't need to worry that you're gonna damage it. You can't hurt it, you can't harm it, you're not gonna break it. So go to work and go to work hard. Use it to baton if you need to. Slam through the wood. Use your muscles. Hammer on the thing. You're not gonna hurt it. And what I like about the Ucon Hawk is, well, it's sharp enough, it's light enough, it's fast enough, and actually in some points literally just slices through the wood, which is crazy to me. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to completely split and chop, but to literally slice through the wood, that's impressive. And even if you get the axe stuck, not a big deal. You can just hammer on it and get it back out. So unlike a tool that has a wooden handle, the full tang design is really gonna help you. And when you have to nail on it and wail on it, it's not gonna hurt it. The other thing I found too is the SureTouch G10 has wonderful grip, feels good. I didn't need to re-grip very often, and it did a wonderful job with the chopping and splitting tasks. But it's long enough that you can also use this for some more like bushcraft style splitting. So you can see here, pairing it up with my log, hammering down and using it to twist and crack again. No problem at all. Now I did find if I wasn't careful, I ran my hand a little bit close towards the beak of the bit. It does have a big old beard on the bottom, and if you're not careful, you can kind of run your hand towards the point. But as long as you're paying attention and using good technique, it's not really a problem. And because it's got a decent length, an overall reasonable heft, and a good strong 1095 bit, you have no problem, and you can hammer down and through the wood. With good cracking action and a little bit of technique, this Ucon Hawk will absolutely do this work with ease. Now, if there's one thing that bothers me, well, honestly, it's the neighbor's dog. There's one thing I hate, and that's doing reviews in my backyard. I really wish I had the opportunity to get the Bushcraft Wonderland and give this a good quality run, but unfortunately, the backyard is required. Well, and that comes with the lovely neighbor's dog. But turning the corner here and getting into some slicing and carving, well, the Ucon Hawk doing a very nice job. Now, bearing down on the wood and taking some good healthy chunks, the Ucon Hawk is definitely capable of doing some good quality work here. Now, one thing I did find is because of the angle and the edge geometry, I did tend to run my hand literally up against the wood, which did a couple of things. One, it was a little bit irritating and just left a little bit of a hot spot, but two, it did leave me subject to potentially getting splinters. So I found wearing gloves was advantageous. Now, if you're careful, you can kind of work around that, but if you're getting down to hard use and really want to get to business, you kind of just need to do what you need to do, so wearing the gloves definitely helped. But overall, because the tang is nice and rounded, it's comfortable in the hand. I found a couple times I did try different grips, but overall, just getting up and tight under the head, no problem at all. But the one place where I thought it would bother me, but didn't, is on the back of the pommel end, where you end up with that pawl and that sort of groove on the hammer head. No problem, no issues at all. It didn't bother me, and it didn't leave any hot spots. They do a wonderful job rounding everything, chamfering everything off, and leaving it so that it's comfortable in the hand. I found that I can work really hard and get deep bite if I want. I can get good heavy chunks and really a good quality, and I'm not even going to say necessarily like tinder, but like almost kindling. And then if I really need to, I can lighten up and get those super fine and refined curls. So the edge geometry on this is wonderful. The ability to bite deep, it'll really carve and hog out the wood, but when you need to, you can just lighten up, really apply barely any pressure, and this is going to take some nice, fine, dainty little curls all the way from the top of the wood down to the bottom, and leaving me with some perfect tinder to start my fire. Overall, I do have to say I'm very happy with the quality of the edge, and even after all of the hard use, it is doing a nice job carving. So the Ucon Hawk, definitely a multi-verse tool where you can use it for the harder tasks, but you can also get into the finer tasks if you need to. That is an advantage where this is not quite a one-tool option, but it gets you close. The ability to take some of your larger wood and process it down, and then take the smaller wood, process it down finer and finer and finer to the point where you're really able to process down for a fire. For me, that's a big deal, and typically what I tend to use my fixed blades or my hard use tools while I'm out in the wilderness. But as you can see, some nice fine curls, no problem, the Ucon Hawk doing a wonderful job. Now here, just using it for some very basic tasks, trying to get myself some further tinder. These little frilly ends of these grasses gonna work out perfectly well to make a little nest. These types of things you can harvest at different points in the year, but now that it's fall, I have plenty of it at my disposal. A good test for me is shaving down on fat wood. Now, fat wood is something that I don't always use, but when I have it at my ready, it definitely makes a nice fire source and the ability to really get my fire started with ease. It takes a spark really well, it's got tons of resin, and the nice thing is, well, it's another good test for the edge of this tool. So the Ucon Hawk doing a nice job carving down and really getting some nice fine little pieces. Now I do find that a lot of times I like to fluff this out a lot more. This Ucon Hawk has one, I would say, and it's not significant, but unfortunate deficiency, and that's the fact that it is differentially heat treated. So it works very well and it's durable, and that is really a selling feature for the Tops 1095. But it won't strike a spark, so you do need some sort of other tool. So for your scraping tasks and for sparking your ferro rod, you do need something else. So I would say that this Ucon Hawk is about perfect for a companion where you need a little blade, you need a scraping tool, something that's going to aid in your ability to start the fire. So the Ucon Hawk, not quite a one-tool option, but it is an absolute fantastic option for a 2-tool system. Ucon Hawk, absolutely wonderful. And as you can see here, it was instrumental in helping me process my wood for the fire. And at this point, well, it's time to turn the corner into the evening. And so, all right, guys, there you have it. A look at this Ucon Hawk out in the field, getting to some good use. Great to see Joe from Survival Attitude. Always a pleasure. And again, to the people at Tops, thank you very much for providing this for review. Now, my thoughts on this, I like this a ton. I really do. I mean, there are so many knives and so many axes in the Tops lineup. Honestly, it's really hard to choose. And at this point, I really don't know if I like their knives or their axes better. They're all really good. And this particular model really calls to me for a number of reasons. First, the overall size and balance. It's perfect. It's like that middle ground right where you want it. A nice, like, easy to wield tool. It's not too heavy. It's not too light. It has a good amount of heft for a light tool, if that makes any sense. You could bring this backpacking with ease. I would absolutely trust my life to this as a defense tool, as like a breaching tool if I had to get out of my house, if I wanted to process wood for a fire, or if I just needed, and I'm not going to say this is a one-tool option, it gets you close to where I can do most things with this, but it doesn't quite get me all the way. Now, of course, the place where I struggle the most, you're never really going to get a 90-degree spine for the most part on a Tops knife. So you kind of need yourself a scraping tool. I opted for the belt knife. I think a 2-tool system is always superior. So pairing this up with your little belt knife or your bushcraft knife, you are in absolute pure heaven. I love the overall shape and the size of this cutting edge. I really like the shape of the head. Now, there are a few things worth considering. The beard on this goes pretty far around to the point where if you're not careful, you get in a little bit of potential trouble. I found a couple times I had to really watch out where my hand was going because you will stab yourself and stab yourself hard, both on that lower beak, but the upper beak there. There are some times when you find you're maneuvering the tool and kind of wielding it around and you get in a little bit close proximity. But other than that, that's actually an advantage. I mean, look at the amount of cutting edge you have on there. As I measure it up here real quick, I mean, 4.5, almost 5 full inches. And that straight line, I mean, never mind the fact that this is curved. This is just a beautifully sculpted head. You have that pawl end where you can definitely hammer or, crack things. It's just very well done. And what I like that Tops did the best, their rounding on this stock is so phenomenally nice. And then the handle. It's the absolute perfect choice for a material. This SureTouch G10 is a joy. Now, I was hammering on this pretty good, and at a few different points in time, I definitely nailed it. And the idea being that, well, even though I nailed it, and it's got that kind of like rubber alternating layer, there's no damage. It's durable. It had no problem. Long term, how's it going to be? I don't know. I mean, I've seen some pictures with people kind of wearing out certain sections of this, but like, I'm not worried about it. If I start to wear through certain sections, it's just another layer of G10 beneath. And honestly, if I've worn through my SureTouch G10, I've used this a ton, and that's good hard use patina. So overall, extremely nicely done. Now, after all that work, feeling the edge, overall, pretty sharp still, but with 1095, it will dull out a little bit faster than other steels, and I feel like at this point, this needs to be stropped. When I first got this, it was like scary sharp. And when I say scary sharp, it was like, be careful of that edge. At this point, I'm not going to say I'd run my thumb like laterally down it, but I'm not that worried about getting cut by it. It needs a strop, but that's all it needs. A little touch up on a ceramic rod and you're good to go. So 1095 being awesome for that field serviceability, no problem. No edge damage, no deformation, no chips, no rolls from what I can see. And I definitely was hitting this pretty hard. And the other thing that I really like, the fact that something like this, you can literally completely torque on it. So bury this as deep as you can into any log and just rack on it and work with it. You're not gonna hurt it. Don't be afraid. Like literally completely pry on it, no problem at all. And that's what I like about tops. Their differential heat treat, the quality of their steel, their 1095 is absolutely fantastic. And that's absolutely the case with the Ucon Hawk. Now their leather, very well done. I am very impressed. And I always am with tops leather. But the mask here, beautifully done, nicely formed, just about perfect. The nice size covers the bit with ease and not overly sized, which I like. It's just like efficient. Now, if you're not careful, right now this is very stiff. It's fresh. You can potentially come up against running your hands, potentially against the blade. You just need to take your time and be careful. Don't be in a rush. Not a problem. And the belt loop. This comes with your belt loop carrier. Absolutely awesome. Now, the one thing about this, you can see how it's stitched. It's like a loop over design and then stitched on one side, which does make it sort of cant to one side. So currently, the way I prefer to carry it, I'm right-handed, and this would basically go into me with the blade facing backwards. I do kind of like that for a safety perspective. I feel like most of the time if I'm going to fall, I'm going to go forward, and this allows me to kind of control my situation a little bit better. But it's a little tight going in. This will loosen up over time. Not a big deal. I'd prefer it to be tight than loose, and that's sitting in there very nicely. Goes on your belt very easily. I would say at least 1.5 inch belt is not going to be a problem, which is pretty standard. So nicely done. I do like it. Again, it's just a little tight for now going in and out of the sort of belt holder, but at the same time, I prefer that. Rather it be tight than loose to start. And in the black, absolutely perfect. So matching extremely well. I love the color combination. The black with the tumbled finish, and then this just awesome sure touch in the orange and black with those thick black liners. Not only is this functional, it's literally absolutely beautiful. Now, Ucon Idaho is Tops's home base, and this Ucon Hawk taking the name, so paying a little bit of tribute to Top's home base. Now, this here is 15 inches overall with a 4.87 inch cutting edge. This blade thickness is 1/4 inch slab of 1095. High carbon steel with a Rockwell of 56 to 58. Top's doing a fantastic job with their differential heat treat. That's absolutely the case here with the Ucon Hawk. With this phenomenal tumbled finish, I really like the way this looks, and it's packaged well where it leads into this G10 sure touch finish. So this black being a rubber, the orange being G10, and these alternating slabs making what's called the Sure Touch G10 with a nice thick black liner on the inside with that tumbled finish and the gray, just a nice overall pop. Weighing in at around 31 ounces, it's a nice sized tool, has a good mid weight, sort of a little bit hefty, but at the same time not too heavy where you could definitely use this for the backpacking application. Now this does come with a leather sheath and also a belt loop, so absolutely fantastic in this black finish, nicely finishing off this package with the Ucon Hawk. And so rolling in the Grandpa's axe. Now we've taken a look at this in the past. The one thing that I really loved about the Grandpa's axe the most, the shape of the head. And well, look what we have here with the Ucon Hawk. Very similar, only just stepping it up a little bit of a notch, a little bit bigger, a little bit beefier, slightly larger, good heft, absolutely fantastic. So if you want something that's similar but a little more compact, the Grandpa's axe, I can say I definitely approve. This tool is amazing. I love this little camp hatchet. It is just sweet. But stepping it up, well, to the next size, that's where you get the Ucon Hawk. So both of these together, just impressive. I do like these equally, but the Ucon Hawk right now just has my love. So very nice tool and greatly done from the people at Tops. And the interesting thing is, well, like father, like son. So here, the Grandpa's axe, designed by Leo Espinosa's father, and well, the Ucon Hawk, similar yet different, both absolutely fantastic. So The Espinosas, just doing a marvelous job. And so the Ucon Hawk, a little bit of a tribute to Tops in their hometown, their home base, Ucon, Idaho. The Ucon Hawk really does pay tribute to everything that Tops is trying to do. So in my opinion, a perfect tool, absolutely wonderfully done, and just a great piece. So if you're in the market for a mid-size hatchet or axe, this, in my opinion, will definitely do it. And so if you like this content, do me a favor, take a look at my Outer Limitless 2 channel, which does cover more of the firearms and tactical applications. At this point, I have a number of videos up there, and the channel continues to grow. So if you like what you see here on my Outer Limitless primary YouTube channel, do me a favor and take a look at Outer Limitless 2. So all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.